Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you follow basketball, you know Chilton Hoops.
So this is really good right here. Yo. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How y'all doing tonight? I know I'm usually on earlier, but trying something a little bit different. And we're doing a review of tonight's action. And the game specifically that I'm doing a review of is Oklahoma City and the Cavs. Oh my goodness. There are plenty of games that I've seen, right? There's plenty of games that I've seen that come down to the wire. There's games that I've seen that have different sort of action in it. This game right here that I watched tonight, that was an adult game. That's what that was. That was a game for adults. I don't think that there was no kid stuff going on in that game. I thought the scouting report before the game started, I felt like both Evan Mobley and Jared Allen could take advantage of their lack of size on their front line. And I felt like Evan Mobley in particular, I thought that he could win his matchup with J-Dub. And I felt like he did. And Cleveland had them scrambling. And don't get me wrong, I felt like Oklahoma City did a great job in switching. I felt like they did a great job in rotating. The difference tonight in tonight's ball game, the difference was in the paint. I got 46. I got 220 and 10. I got 220 and 10 guys with both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I got 20 and 10 from both of those guys. You can't combat that. You can't combat that. When I got two guys on the glass, cleaning glass, and not only do I have two guys on the glass cleaning glass, I got them as defensive anchors in the paint. Evan Mobley did a great job in getting downhill and getting to the rim. He had turned the ball over a couple of times early, which was fine. No doubt about that. I'm doing good, Brave. He had turned the ball over early, which is fine. Okay, I get that. However, he got more into the flow of the offense. He operates, when I watch him, I feel like he operates the best at the top of the key because I feel like there's more space for him to operate. And it's more opportunities for him to get downhill. So when he's got a smaller man on him, like having Jalen Williams on him, I just think that he's so much better at getting downhill. And I thought he did a great job in taking advantage of a smaller man in J-Dub, both with his strong hand and with his weak hand. I think Jared Allen, I don't give him nearly as much credit as I should for the finisher that he is around the rim. I don't give him nearly as much credit as I should. He's a much better finisher than I give him credit for. Much better. He's got good hands. He's really good around the rim at finishing. And he keeps plays alive. He keeps plays alive because he rebounds. He rebounds with the best of them. Now, don't get me wrong. He had his hands full tonight with Hartenstein. Hartenstein had that floater working, and I think he might have missed one of them. But Jared Allen kept the pressure on him. Kept the pressure on him by going to the offensive glass, going to the defensive glass, running the floor, and in that pick and dive action, which I'm not on the fence about this when I tell you this, guys. If the Cavs can continue that pick and dive action, they're going to be a problem in the playoffs. The reason why this pick and dive action works, the same reason why it works with the Celtics, because screening is the most important part of the pick and dive action. Because now what you do is, one, you create switches, and two, you can switch. But screening is the most important. You can't pick and pick with your arms. No, you got to put a body on somebody. And Evan Mobley does that. Jared Allen does that. And that puts a lot of pressure on the defense to switch and to recover. They can't do it. That's why Malone and Stockton was so good at that, because Malone was so good at screening. That's why the Celtics are so good at it, because Porzingis is so good at screening, where he gets mismatches in the mid-range. And that's the same thing that happens with Evan Mobley. That's the same thing that happens with Jared Allen. Dive into the rim. I thought Darius Garland did a really good job in taking care of the basketball. I thought he made the right plays. I thought it was very important because I know who Oklahoma City is in that third period. I know who they are. And I can tell you right now, what they will do, they will speed the game up. How they speed the game up, they'll get on the glass because as a smaller team, they gain rebound. So I was worried about that. They'll get on the glass and they'll turn you over. I was worried about that. However, Cleveland did a great job in taking care of the basketball, Darius Garland in particular. I had mentioned earlier how as good as Oklahoma City's rotation is, Cleveland got 10 guys, man. They got 10 legit guys. Right? Cleveland's got 10 legit guys. 10 of them. And all of these dudes, not some of them or most of them, all of these dudes are viable in some way. I'm watching Ty Jerome get downhill on Jalen Williams in the fourth quarter and take the game to him. Getting on his weak, Jalen Williams is pushing Ty Jerome to the paint with his weak hand. He's spinning off of him and going back to his strong hand, and that floater is working. That floater, with that floater working, and him getting to the bucket, I mean, he was wearing on Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams gave you 2 points in the fourth quarter and 3 turnovers. He was completely and utterly ineffective. Completely and utterly ineffective. With that being said, Donovan Mitchell was also, he was equally ineffective. I know that the variance of the 3-point shot, I know that can change with time. But with the 3-point shot, there's other ways to get involved. I saw Jason Tatum doing that last night against Denver when the 3-point shot isn't going. But Lou Dort made it so difficult on Donovan Mitchell to get into a rhythm. And that's what you have to do with scorers. One, get the ball out of their hands. That's number one with a scorer. Get the ball out of their hands to get them off rhythm. And I thought Lou Dort did a good job at that. Pushed him further away from the basket, forced him into tough shots. When he was trying to get downhill, be physical with him. Not illegally, but just be physical with him. And it worked. It 100% worked. So Donovan Mitchell was ineffective early on. He made a couple shots later on, but it was not a Donovan Mitchell game. It was not. I thought that the Cavs rotation players, and not only their rotation players, but their other players, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Ty Jerome, those guys, they were the difference in this ball game. Because I feel like when you have a guy, right? I feel like when you have a guy who is as dynamic as Donovan Mitchell, I expect him to be awesome. But he's also one of those players who he doesn't dominate the basketball. He will tell you to get in the game. He won't be one of those guys who will just take the game over and just keep shooting bad shots. No, that's not Donovan Mitchell's game. He put that battery in Darius Garland's back. Darius Garland is not going downhill and attacking Jalen Williams. He's not attacking Cason Wallace in the meat and potatoes of the game to end the game. He's not doing that 2 years ago because he's not sure of himself. He looks a lot more sure of himself today than he did years ago. I think that Mitchell has a lot to do with it. I thought their second unit did a great job in knocking down open shots. Max Strus knocked down open shots. Dean Wade, he knocked down a couple of open shots. And I think that was largely due to the playmaking of both Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. I thought they did a great job in that. However, I can't say enough about Cleveland's defense. They continuously gave Shea different looks defensively. Now, you're not going to stop a guy like that. You're just not. No matter what you do, you're not going to stop a guy like that. The idea is to make it difficult on him. He still almost shot 50% from the floor. He took 27 shots. He made 13 of them. And a lot of that stuff was in the mid-range. And not just in the mid-range. He got out in the open floor a couple times. He looked great. He looked great. I'm watching the pick and pop action between him and Hartenstein, and I'm thinking to myself, I want to make Hartenstein more of a ball handler. I wanted to jump Shea to get the ball out of his hands. Make Hartenstein more of a ball handler. The counter to that is when you get blitzed, you get off the ball and you get it back quick, and then you go. Right? You get off the ball, you get it right back, and then you go. Because the defense is scrambling. They didn't blitz Shea as much, but I thought that they gave him different looks. And I thought they did as good a job as you could do on a guy that good. The difference in this ballgame tonight was in the paint, and their second unit guys in the paint with what both Evan Mobley and Jared Allen did, them around the rim. Their second unit guys with Max Strus, Wade, Karis LeVert, Ty Jerome, who was fantastic. George Niang knocking down open shots. They got 10 guys. 10 of them. What's important with that, when you have that kind of continuity, you're going to be hard to beat, man. The thing that I worry about is, one, I'm not sure if Evan Mobley is there yet. I'm not sure if Evan Mobley is there yet. I like what I saw from him tonight. The same way I feel about J-Dub, this is why I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder are a year away. This is why I feel like that. This is why I feel like Oklahoma City is a year away, because that consistent second scorer. And I know that Jalen Williams had 25. He was completely and utterly ineffective. He was completely and utterly ineffective in the fourth. I feel the same way about Mobley. I'm not sure if he's there yet. I'm not sure about that. He may prove me wrong. He may prove me wrong, because I see what I see from him is I see the growth. I see a guy more aggressive. I see a guy going to the rim. I see a guy using his weekend. I see a guy more confident. I see that. I'm not sure for what they're trying to do. And I can tell you right now, Cleveland is trying to win the championship. Cleveland isn't trying to make playoffs. Cleveland isn't trying to make it to the semifinals. This is a team that they think that they can challenge Boston for the East Finals, for the Eastern Conference Championship. And because of that, right? And because of that, I'm not sure if Mobley is there yet. That's not to say he isn't. I'm just not sure that he is. But from what I've seen from this group, so far, again, they're undefeated against the Western Conference. Zero losses against the West. 0 losses against the West. The 4 losses that they have are against Eastern Conference teams. The 4 losses that they have are against Eastern Conference teams. The rest of their wins are against the West. Undefeated. I don't think that Oklahoma City, it's not that they weren't prepared. They don't have the personnel to challenge a line like what Cleveland has on a consistent basis. I think if they saw them in a 7-game series, I think they beat them up. I'm not sure whether or not Chet's coming back this season. I said this last year when the season started, that I thought Chet was the difference in what they were doing. I won't argue that SGA is their best player. No, I won't argue that, because I do think that he's their best player. But Chet gives them a dynamic that they don't have. And tonight is evidence of that. You got to stretch big. Not only do you have a stretch big, you got a rim protector and a paint presence. You don't have that, because now teams have to play you differently. Teams have to play you differently. But I can tell you one thing. Watching tonight's game, he would have gotten beaten up. That was an adult game tonight. That's not to say that Chet is an adult, but he would have had his hands full with both Mobley and Jared Allen on that glass. He would have had his hands full with those two guys. That was an adult game tonight. I saw a bunch of grown-ups tonight. That's what I saw. I didn't see anybody being tentative. I didn't see anybody tiptoeing. I didn't see anybody being tentative. No, I saw a bunch of adults in that game tonight. And that's what I love to see. I love to see that. That's not something that I'm thinking, yo, this is good sometime. No. I love that. Love you too, see. I love that. That's awesome work right there, man. So this is one of the better regular season games that I've seen in a long time. I haven't. A lot of times with regular season games, and there's a lot of hype built up around them, and they become underwhelming. Right? They become underwhelming. Off the script that some people don't take it as seriously. They'll hold out guys. Coach will try different things, maybe even to lose games. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is notorious for that. But it was obvious tonight. Coach Mark Dagnall and Coach Ken Atkinson, this game was very important to both of them. Very important. They had all their guys on the floor, and they wanted it to be known who the better team was tonight. Now, again, it is regular season, and there's not a lot of gravity when it comes to the regular season. I've said this to you in the past. The regular season can be tricky. I saw the Phoenix Suns beat Minnesota 3 times in the regular season. They didn't win a game in the postseason against them. 4-0. These how many games they won. But this was a game that was for adults. This was not a game that was for kids. No. This was not a game that was for anybody soft. If you're soft, go sit on the sideline and watch. Because that's what kind of game we're having tonight. It's going to be physical. There's going to be some pushing. There's going to be some roughhousing. Not illegal, not dirty, but just grown-up basketball. Grown-up adult basketball. And that's what that was tonight. And Chet makes Oklahoma City a different team. He's the difference in what they're doing. He's not one of their better players. He's the difference. Just like Scottie Pippen, when he played with the Bulls, Michael Jordan was the guy. Scottie Pippen was the difference. LeBron James was the guy. Anthony Davis was the difference in what they're trying to do. Giannis is clearly the guy. Drew Holiday was the difference. That's who Chet is, because he brings something that not a lot of teams in the league have. And I think that it's important to recognize that. When you have a guy on your crew that brings something that not a lot of teams in the league have, it's hard to combat that. So a guy in Chet, the rim protector that he is, the long ball shooter, the mid-range shooter, the finisher that he is around the rim, how good he is. That's the difference in what you guys are trying to do. It's the difference. And what makes it makes Shay's game so much more lethal. It makes J-Dub's game cutting to the basket because the lane is open more. It makes his game even more lethal. It makes those shooters, Cason Wallace, Wiggins, who I love, by the way, it makes their games way more lethal than what it already is. Now, I don't know if they get Chet back this season. I heard that he was doing some movement. I haven't heard anything about running yet. I haven't heard a peep about running. I heard that there was some movement going on. Now, I think this Friday, I think Friday will be 10 weeks. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think Friday will be 8 weeks. So that's 2 months. This is where we are. And how he responds, that part I don't know. but I do know that they need him. I do know that for a fact. They do need him because what he brings, if you think about the bigs in the league, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, the Celtics got KP, Denver's got Joker, of course. I mean, I won't leave him out. Sacramento's got Sabonis. Miami's got Bam. When you have when you have a big like that, right? When you have a big like that, it's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to replace that. You need that. You 100% need that. So, I love what I'm seeing from. Again, I don't like what I'm seeing from Cleveland. I love what I'm seeing from Cleveland. I love what I'm seeing from Oklahoma City. These are two of the best teams in the league right now. That part I won't argue. Those are two of the best teams in the league. I didn't say that scoring was a problem for Oklahoma City. I didn't say that. I said their problem is on the front line. That's their biggest problem right now. Because the guys that they have, Hartenstein, him having to fight with those two guys, Hartenstein having to fight with those two guys, because Jalen Williams wasn't enough. And I ain't talking about J-Dub. I'm talking about Jalen Williams in the rotation. He wasn't enough. No, he's not enough to fight with those two. I don't think that he's enough help for. He's not enough help for Hartenstein to fight with those two guys all night. He's not. Their front line is the biggest problem. So if you add in Cam Johnson, you're not addressing the problem. You straight on the perimeter with your buckets. You got the second lead scorer in the game, and you got another 20. You straight with your buckets. The problem is on your front line when you play against teams like Cleveland, when you play against teams like Boston, when they take advantage of your lack of size. And I didn't even talk about how bad Donovan Mitchell was tonight. He couldn't get anything going. Nothing. There was nothing that Donovan Mitchell could get going as a scorer. He was able to get downhill and get guys involved in the game, right? He was able to get downhill and get guys involved in the game. He found Max Strus in the corner. He found Karis LeVert. He was able to find guys like George Niang at the long ball line. He was able to do that. As far as a scorer, I think he got completely taken out of his rhythm. Completely taken out of his rhythm. And luckily that wasn't the difference in the game because I didn't think that. I thought him and Shea would cancel each other out, but they didn't. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. I think that Donovan Mitchell was still playing the type of game that he plays, right? I think he was playing the type of game that he plays. I think the problem was Lou Dort gave him all that he could. He kept him off balance. He kept the ball out of his hands. He kept him away from the basket as much as possible. And I thought it worked. I did. I thought it worked. I think that we have this, like when you see teams like what you saw tonight with both Oklahoma City and Cleveland, and you see them get dominated in the paint, immediately the question is what else do they need? Well, first of all, they need their best big man. He needs to get back in the lineup. That's number one, right? That's number one. Their best interior defender. They need him more than anything. They need him. They also need one of their best perimeter defenders back in the lineup, in Alex Caruso. They need him back. If they get these guys back, Oklahoma City has the ingredients. There is no reason to make any trades. There's no reason to tinker with this roster. No, you have the necessary ingredients. You got to get Chet back, even though I don't think that they're there yet. But Chet comes back. I think that we're looking at something different with this Oklahoma City team. And that's largely due to everything that he brings. But this Oklahoma City team, as good as they are, as good as this Oklahoma City team is, as a defensive, as an offensive team, defense is their mantra. That's where they get a lot of their action. That's what they turn you over, they speed the game up, they make the game faster, they cause you to scramble because you're turning the basketball over. And Cleveland kept themselves under control. They didn't turn the basketball over that much. I think they had 12 or 13 turnovers for the game. Something to that effect, which is good. Which is good. So there isn't anything drastic that has to happen with this Oklahoma City team in terms of a trade. You get Chet back in the lineup, which I'm not sure if he's going to be back this season. Like I said, what I heard was he did some movement today. I mean, I don't know what that means, and I don't know how far they're going to go with that, but we'll see. But they need him back in the lineup. And I don't think that this season is a wash if he doesn't come back, because I still think that they're going to be a team that's going to compete. I still think they're a team that's going to compete. But this Oklahoma City team, right? This Oklahoma City team, ain't no joke. And this Cleveland team, that was a huge win at home for them. And Oklahoma City, for all intents and purposes, I think this is their one game for the next, I think for the next 6 or 7 games. They got like a 6 or 7 game homestand. And this is the one game that they played in Cleveland. I don't think they're on the road again for like another 3 or 4 games. I think they're home again for another 3 or 4 games. I don't think they're on the road again. Right? So this is going to be good for them. They'll be able to make up some ground. They play great at home. I don't think they've lost at home this season. I think the losses that they have, I think all of them have been on the road. I don't think they've lost at home yet this season. So we'll see what happens with them. But this Cleveland team, they are excellent. They are. And I thought before the season started, I did not like firing Bickerstaff. I did not like firing JB Bickerstaff. But as time goes on, I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe Bickerstaff is a bridge coach. You know, like what Mark Jackson was with the Warriors. Maybe he's a bridge coach. Maybe he's a guy that'll get you there, and then you get somebody else in to take you over the top. Which kind of sucks, because I don't want to be that. I really don't. But when they got Atkinson, I felt really good about this Cleveland team. I did. I felt really good about this Cleveland team. I'm not sure how I feel about Donovan Mitchell in a 7-game series when we're going deep into the playoffs. I'm talking about East Final. I mean, I've seen him in the semifinals. I'm talking deep into the playoffs, East Finals, NBA championship. Can he be that guy? Because what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen is when you get deeper into the playoffs, you're going to need a guy like Donovan Mitchell, right? You're going to need a guy like Donovan Mitchell to be elevated. I mean, I had said this about Kyrie Irving, that I didn't think that Kyrie Irving, I don't think he carried in 2016. I felt like he did his job. Now, what does that mean, Chill? Because he went above and beyond his job. Well, when we get later on in the playoffs and the teams get better, I got to raise my game. That's my job. So in the first round, things that I got away with in the first round, I'm not going to get away with that I'm not going to get away with that in semifinals because we're playing against a better team. The stuff I got away with in the semifinals, I'm not going to be able to get away with that in the East Finals. I'm playing against a better team, so my game has to get better. So I feel like Donovan Mitchell, can he raise his level of play when we get later? He's already shown me he can win me a playoff series. He showed me that. He showed me that last year. He showed me that he was in Utah. He can win me a playoff series. Oh, he can do that. I'm talking about when we go further into the playoffs. Can he raise his level of play? That's going to be $1 million question with Donovan Mitchell. I'm interested. I'm really interested to see if that can happen. This Cleveland team, man, I feel like they're something to deal with. They are definitely something to deal with, no doubt about that. And Young, that's such a lazy take right there. That's so lazy for you to say something like that. That is so lazy. Tatum gets blown out being on this team with no check. Really? With that defense that Oklahoma City has and the way that they fly around? That is such a casual take. I can't tell you how much a casual take that is. That's one of the most casual takes I've ever heard. A guy like Jason Tatum, the playmaker that he is, the jump shooter that he is, the one-on-one player that he is, the perimeter defender that he is, playing with those guys, playing with Hartenstein, playing with Wallace, Wiggins, they get blown out. That's one of the most casual takes that I've heard. I can't say that I've heard a more casual take than that in a long time. I can't say that. But I think that this could be a finals preview. I think that's why they played it like that. I don't think Cleveland can beat Boston 4 times in a week, but I think that this was really good I feel like this was really good for the league. I do. I think this was really good for the league, no doubt. So I want to hear from you guys. I do. I want to hear from you guys, and I want to know what you guys thought of this game.
Yo, what up, Chill?
Yeah.
What up, man? That was a great game, man. And I think I'm about to hop on that Cleveland bandwagon because I've always been a fan of Donovan Mitchell, but like you said, he's never made it past that second round. But this year, man, I think this is the year that they can actually get to the finals because of Mobley and Allen. That big action that they run was beautiful. Like they were both throwing each other lobs, and I can't really think of the last time I've seen two bigs playmate like that. That's on the same team.
And I got roasted for this. I was on playback. I brought it back to when David Robinson and Tim Duncan was doing it, and I got roasted for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was a kid whenever Robinson and Duncan played, but were they playmaking and like getting each other open like that?
Yes, that hollow action.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, I was gonna say that I was gonna tweet that too on Twitter, but I was like, nah, I ain't trying to get roasted either. But I was like, man, that was beautiful watching them play. They both had double doubles, and the thing that I love the most is the way they offensive rebound. Because I feel like because they can offensive rebound, they can grab them so good, it gives their shooters confidence. Like whenever Stu shoots it now, I feel like he just lets it fly. Whenever Dean Wade shoots it, he just lets it fly. Even though Mitchell was off tonight, in a 7-game series, Chill, I don't think he's going to be off every night because he's going to have more confidence in his shot because he know if he miss it, Mobley or Allen is going to get the offensive rebound. They got like 3 or 4 straight to close that game out at night, and I thought that was incredible. So man, I'm ready to see how they do. I want to stick with Tatum, man, but the way that the Cavaliers play, man, I love watching them play. Like I don't like watching Tatum play all the time, so I think that Boston Cleveland series is going to be great. So if either one of them win, man, the championship. I'm
already on record. If Cleveland sees Boston in the East Finals, I'm in Boston. I'm going. I'm there. No doubt.
Who you going for though in that series, Shell?
I'm having a difficult time seeing anybody beat Boston 4 times in a week. However, I can say I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics didn't win. But I'm having a difficult time seeing somebody beat them 4 times in a week. For everything that they do, for the adjustments that they make and the personnel they have, like I said, Cleveland got 10 guys. Boston does too. And in terms of versatility defensively, like you can't that big to big action. Excuse me, that big to big action that Cleveland has, Boston can counter that because they also got bigs.
But what's the counter to that, though, Chill?
Well, one with both, they got Kata, they got Cornette, they got KP, and their counter to that is just defense. What Cleveland did, they took advantage of their size on the offensive end. It didn't have much to do because I already know how good Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are on the defensive end. But you can drag bigs away from the basket. And Oklahoma City did not have a lot of trouble on the offensive end in terms of getting buckets. The problem was them having to deal with both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on the offensive end. They couldn't do anything with them. And I think Boston can counter that with the bigs that they had. And now you have to go to Donovan Mitchell more. Now you have to go to Darius Garland more. And in a 7-game series, I do like what the Boston Celtics do.
Yeah, the thing that scares me with Boston, though, is kind of what happened tonight with OKC. Late in the game, like whenever we need rebounds, I've seen Boston give up a lot of rebounds in crunch time. And I don't know if I can count on Porzingis to get rebounds because one thing that he showed me this year, I thought Porzingis was a better rebounder than what he is, but I don't really think Porzingis is that good of a rebounder.
I think that can be remedied with Jason Tatum. That could be remedied with Drew Holiday. That could be remedied with Derek White. Because very much like what Oklahoma City does with their game rebounding, the Celtics do the same thing. And they got the size to do it. I think that's the difference. So,
yeah.
Good to talk to you, brother.
Yeah, but man, appreciate you having me out, though, man. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. What up?
Chill, what up?
What's up?
Chill, what a game, man. High quality hoops, bro. The highest level. For the year, I was going to say it was the highest quality game I've seen for the season. I saw ball movement. It was like strength versus strength, right? It was the Thunder defense, the Cavs ball movement. Now, the Cavs ended up getting the win, and they basically did on execution at the end of the game. The Thunder were up 7 after 1. The Cavs were up 3 at half. The Cavs were up 1 after 3. So really, it was dictated in the fourth quarter, more so the last 4 or 5 minutes. What I saw was, and I'm looking at the box score, I'm looking at the rebounding differential. It was a push until the last 4 minutes, and you saw offensive rebounds, getting pulled in by Allen and getting pulled in by Mobley. That's where it showed. But for a duration of the game,
why do you think that was when you talk about in the meat and potatoes of the game? Why do you think that Cleveland separated themselves from
I think one guy in Hartenstein can only do so much for so long, right?
Right there.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Respect to the Thunder. You got Case and Wallace hitting shots, Shea controlling the pace of the game. Hartenstein's a nice player. That is a good ball player. And Lou Dort defending D. Mitch 90 feet for a large duration of the second half. Like, you don't see that in an NBA regular season game most of the time. So it was a really, really nice game to watch. Garland is building confidence in these huge games. He's not getting benched against the Celtics. He was defending Tatum on those switches. He was playing in those crucial moments tonight and getting buckets. He got by Case and Wallace, got to the rim and kind of sealed the deal. I didn't think the game was too big for Mobley. He did fumble the ball a couple times under the rim. But the Thunder defense is good, Chill. We have to give them respect. They did not make this easy. Absolutely. And you know what? You talked about the Celtics. The Celtics have those kind of guys too. So that when you say I'll take the Celtics in 7 against the Cavs, I respect it because I can see it playing out that way too. But I can also see a version of the Cavs between now and the end of the season where they're even better than they are now. Because I'm watching Atkinson.
We barely a third. We barely a third through the season. I mean, if the Cavs can avoid injury and stay as healthy as possible, and Donovan Mitchell can continuously raise his level of play, because that's what as good as Darius Garland is, as good as Evan Mobley is, as good as Jared Allen is, it's going to come down to Donovan Mitchell being able to raise his level of play when we get into the playoffs, because that's what it's going to take.
It's true.
That's exactly what it's going to take. My best player, I'm only going to be able to go as good as my other players are. My best player got to play better when we move forward. Donovan Mitchell, he's already proven to me that I can win us a playoff series. Can we keep doing it? Can I raise my level of play? And if he can do that, then we're gonna have the series to talk about. Yes, we will.
One more thing, Chill, and I'm gonna jump off here. The thing about Mitchell this year, everybody's talking about in these big games, he hasn't played well. I just want to kind of remind people what he's done against good teams this year. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this season because that's all we got. This is just a body of work. Against the New York Knicks, he dropped 25 early in the year. Yeah. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, he dropped 30. He followed it with a 14, right? So not a great game, but on the one game, he did very well. Against the Sixers, he dropped 23. Against the Celtics, he dropped 35. Against the Hawks, he dropped 30. We're talking about the more competitive teams, right? So you're dropping 30 and 35 on the Celtics. You're dropping 28 on the Nuggets. I mean, these are some of the more competitive teams with guys on the other side that are really good. Another 27 on the Bucks. I'm just saying, when you're dropping 33s and 27s and 25s on the good teams, I mean, how do you say he plays bad against good teams? I mean, the numbers he's scoring in those games. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. So.
And you know what? One more thing, Jill, just because I want to show you the respect, bro. You were right about Tatum years ago, and a lot of people very wrong about Tatum for the last several years. He is a very, very good player. He's top of the class. He's up there with SGA, with Joker. You know, these guys all deserve Giannis. They deserve MVP considerations. Look at the team's records because they are great. That's all I got to say. Thanks, Joe.
All right, brother. Good talk to you. Yes, sir. Stop.
Yo, can you hear me, Chill? Yo, what up? Also, shout out Snee. What up, man? I just wanted to talk really about Donovan Mitchell and how he performed tonight and how he will really be the deciding factor with how the Cavs do this postseason, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like today they got lucky. Not lucky, but I'd say, you know, they didn't have great defenders for the bigs, you know what I mean? And some guys in the East, like Giannis and the Celtics, I don't feel like they'll be able to do this against them. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And I don't think that he's going to play like that again. But I thought that what I don't want to do is I don't want to discredit Oklahoma City and Lou Dort. No, I'm not going to do that. I thought Lou Dort did a great job on him. I thought they did a great job in switching, pushing him further away from the basket, forcing him into tough shots. I thought they did a great job with that. I don't think that he will play that bad throughout the course of a series. But in a one-game sample size, I thought Oklahoma City did a great job on him. It's not for me, it's not more that Donovan Mitchell played bad than it is Oklahoma City did a good job of slowing him down.
I agree. And that, in my opinion, that's the best shooting guard in the league. I don't think there's anyone better than him, both sides of the ball. And I mean, they did probably the best out of any team this year with slowing him down. But I feel like today with the Cavs too, something huge was Garland getting that confidence with, you know, playing well against good teams. You know, after that stinker he had with the Celtics where he made like 2 shots or something crazy like that. Yep. I just think if he continues to build off this, Don doesn't play like this more, and Mobley continues to develop how he is, I seriously think the Cavs can take down the Celtics in 6.
I'm here for it. I am. I'm already on record saying, right? I'm on record saying if they end up seeing the Celtics in the East Finals, I am in Boston. I'm going. So
right,
I'm biased though.
Good talk to you.
Yep. Joe, where you been at? That's what I want to know. Where you been at? I ain't talked to this dude in like forever.
I've been watching. I've been locked in on football, man. I'll be around. I'll still be doing the thing. But no, I'm be back more active. Sometimes you gotta take a hiatus, man. These bad. Yeah, take some time off, man. You gotta be away. But I'll be back more active, and then I'll be watching football. But no, how these people be talking on these internet, these takes, man, you gotta take a break. And remember, with early TikTok, I was the guy everybody used to send it to. I got tired of that, bro. I started feeling like I was like a pit bull, had to attack everybody. So I had to tell people stop tagging me. Had to just disappear, and people got the hint. But now, what's up, OG, man?
Big teeth.
You gotta destroy them, but it's been getting worse, man. How many times people be hitting me back up talking about, so SB, you need to start back doing the bad take book, man. It's getting out of hand. I was like, I'll think about it. But no, Jack, came to chop it up with you. I know you want to talk football. Your 49ers ain't in the playoffs. It's been a bad year, so I know you.
I said that in. I said that in. It was probably week 11. I was like, we ain't making the playoffs. No,
injuries. Is it time to blow it up? Though?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. Okay. However, and this might be a hot take for you. I'm down to move up for Christian McCaffrey. I think we already got the best of him. He was. He stayed beat up in Carolina. We got lucky last year. That he wasn't beat up, and what you saw this year from him, that's who he really is. Yeah, as good of a player he is, but he stays in and out of the lineup with injuries. Stays in and out of the lineup, and I think we got lucky. I'm down to move up for him.
I think y'all should have took advantage of that good year y'all had from him last year and won. I think it's time to blow it up because there was like, how much you gonna pay Purdy? Because y'all better not max him out. I think he get like a good 40 a year, maybe 45.
I'm cool paying him because if see, that's the thing about quarterbacks. Like if you move off of a quarterback, the question that you got to ask yourself is like, what are you replacing him with? So if we moving off of Brock Purdy, what's in the draft? What's in free agency? Like we ain't getting lucky like Minnesota did. Don't forget, Sam Darnold was on the 49ers last year.
Yeah, he was. Or you can find that vet that nobody believes in, like a Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins, maybe.
Kirk Cousins is over. Kirk Cousins is finished.
Not his bank account, I can tell you that.
Yes.
Whoever his agent is, you need to get him. I need to get in contact with him too, because he gonna get you paid.
Yes, he is 100%. He played on that franchise tag for 2 years, and then the going rate with him was that.
Yeah.
If you want me to play for you, this is what the going rate is. So
you gonna get that money. But back to the hoop point. One thing I'm glad that you actually did go live tonight, because I was like, I know you usually go live on TikTok in the morning. I was gonna make sure after I dropped the kids off, I was like, I gotta go on your live. Because everybody talk about the Donovan Mitchell having bad games, big games. That's not the problem, because you finally got a coach who's actually taking advantage of what the Cavs' weakness was during that time. They was overutilized Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, where you wasn't getting your bigs involved. Because I could have sworn if anybody was the two biggest Mobley guys, it was me and you. And we were telling you, like, bro, this guy could be a defensive player of the year, and you can activate this guy. He could be like one of the best defensive players and be activated like Chris Bosh type of offense. But also you see what he can show his passing ability. So I like Kenny Atkinson, what he actually has been doing, because anytime that you see Donovan Mitchell have a bad game, do you see the other guys doing good? Because the ball movement has actually been going around. And then obviously when other guys key on this guy, you will actually hope that the other guys actually show up. So what I like what Kenny Atkinson is doing, preparing the other guys to make that move in the playoffs, because what we have seen that destroyed the Cavs every time during their playoff run was Mitchell try to play hero ball and everybody collapse on him. Then finally you try to get the other guys involved, but they never used to been doing anything with the ball. They usually just either stand in a corner or do a high pick and roll and hope to catch it under the rim or catch a oop. But Kenny Atkinson is actually getting the bigs involved in multiple ways. So I think this will actually help them in the long term in the future during the playoff run.
And on top of that, I feel like, to add to your point, Donovan Mitchell is a willing passer. Like, he ain't one of those guys who has to dominate the ball. Like, when he's not scoring, he will get other people involved. In fact, he did that tonight. Now, I'm not gonna say that he had a great game. I thought that they did a damn job on him defensively. I thought that they boxed him up, made him take tough shots, made him miss tough shots, kept him away from the basket for as long as they did. 100%, I thought that they did that. However, he's one of those guys who, as a willing passer, and not just as a willing passer, but also he's putting that battery in Darius Garland back. Don't worry about me. I promise you, I'm gonna get involved in this game. You do your thing. 100% do your thing. I'm right behind you. And him doing that, I just think that makes Darius Garland so much better.
Yeah, and that's what he need that confidence, because Darius Garland is going to be the guy that have to handle the ball when they start double teaming and trapping Donovan Mitchell to get the ball in his hand. Darius Garland is going to have to be the guy that have the ball in his hand, the playmaker. But yeah, I want to pick your brain too, like, because we head into a different area of basketball, and I'm actually glad to see these two teams. But if you want to count Donovan Mitchell as a superstar acquired guy, that's fine. But how do you feel about teams like the OKC Thunder, who is like a cusp of close to a championship, and actually instead of just doing what everybody usually do, is trade all your young guys and go for a superstar, actually stay in the course with the team that they actually have, because you actually might be better off with what you got instead of trading for like a superstar, even though ain't really none of them really out here. But do you think OKC making the right decision, stay in the course, or you think they should just go out and get another guy and go all out?
In fact, I think that's the future of the NBA, because of the CBA, that you're able to keep a lot of the guys that you draft. And I understand how the first tier and the second tier work, but a lot of these teams own a lot of these teams own Houston, Oklahoma City. They own a lot of their players' bird rights. So because you own their bird rights, and you can get these guys on the cheap because you got them on rook deals, and then you don't have to move, and then you don't have to pay them for a little while, and then you pay this guy, and I don't got to pay this other guy for another 2 years, and then that deal doesn't kick in for 2 years, and it counts only for 35% of the salary cap. This other guy that I already paid, his money is still on the books, but I still got this guy on a rook deal. So, for example, when you pay SGA, but I still got J-Dub on his rook deal. Okay, so in another year, when I got to pay J-Dub, I still got Chet on his rook deal. So and Chet's deal doesn't kick in for another 2 years. So I think that I feel like these guys are going in the right direction, sticking with the young guys and building it with these young guys. Because I mean, if you think about the teams that have won, the Celtics. I mean, when they was in the NBA Finals, Robert Williams in the draft, Marcus Smart in the draft, Jason Tatum in the draft, Jaylen Brown in the draft. All of these guys in the draft. When you think about when Milwaukee won it, Giannis in the draft, Middleton in the draft. So I mean, a lot of these teams, Denver, Aaron Gordon in the trade, MPJ in the draft, Joker in the draft, Murray in the draft, Christian Brown in the draft. A lot of teams, I feel like they're building their units that way and sticking to it that way. And you got a lot of young teams like Houston, like Memphis, like Oklahoma City. I think that's going to be I feel like that's going to be the mantra. Same thing with Cleveland, Mobley in the draft, Darius Garland in the draft. A lot of these guys that they're building around are young guys, so I like it. I think and
I also like how the fact that they, instead of going for that superstar too, they go get the vet guy that actually fit the mold of what the team actually need. Like you said, the Nuggets went and got an Aaron Gordon, the Celtics went and got a Drew Holiday, or even like the Cavs, they got a Jared Allen. Instead of just going for the name, going for what actually fit. And I think, like you said, that's going to change the dynamic of the NBA, because a lot of these guys going on their tail end, the superstar guys, and you just winning with 2 or 3 guys don't work no more. So I wonder,
super team era, that super team stuff, that's over, yo.
That's over. That's with. You got to go 10 deep. And then also, how do you? One more thing I want to hit you with. We ain't got to talk about my Bulls. We can say that for another day, because them threes, 75 missed threes. That's a whole nother conversation. So I turned out both games. You could definitely tell. That's why I said I've been watching football. So I turned out both games. But and see, talk about the Bulls and threw me off. Jesus. But how do you feel about the Karl Anthony Towns trade, right, with Julius Randle? But Cat is now looking like an MVP candidate, superstar status. How you looking at Cat now?
Well, he was always one of the better bigs in the game. He was always one of the better bucket getters in the game. I mean, I think he lead the league in rebounding. He had a 4 or 5 year stretch when he was in Minnesota. We averaged 12 rebounds. He was a bucket. He's always been a glass cleaner. So I don't think that should be, something that's shocking people. He was always that. I just think that, he had to grow. He had to learn. And now that he's in a system which works for his game, I think that's conducive for his game. It just looks a lot better. This Julius Randle thing, I was really excited about it. With him coming to Minnesota, it just hasn't worked out. It hasn't.
I think the problem is I think Randall will benefit more off the bench. with that certain situation, I hate the fact of that it's neutralizing Nas Reed, because I thought with Cat being gone, this was time to unleash Nas Reed. And I know you can't get rid of Gobert, but I was thinking that, hey, if you're getting rid of Cat, that means we got a guy, Nas Reed, who is like a skilled big, who you could probably get some of the things that Cat was doing. Maybe it's not the shooting to the extent that Cat was shooting, but I thought this was going to unlock Nas Reed game, and they was making Nas Reed the number 2 guy. Because I feel like you shouldn't get rid of Cat if you're not gonna move up Nas Reed. This guy was just a 6-man. This guy was very nice. So why are you not making this guy the number 2? And then with Cat, I'm looking at Cat like, because I think in December he was averaging almost like 20 points, 20 plus points, 20 plus rebounds. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Is we looking at Cat as a top 10 player right now? Because to me, I think he's the best player on the Knicks. And the Knicks is a good built team, though.
I feel like you can make that argument, but I mean, Jalen Brunson is still the guy over there as of right now. We'll see what it is in the future. But SB, I got to get moving, brother.
All right, bro. Appreciate it. Good talking to you,
know
man.
Where to find me at. All right, yo. What up?
What's up, Chill? How are you?
What up? Good, brother.
What's up, man? So right now you're talking to a real Cavaliers fan, man. So what I want to point out is that the Cavaliers are still disrespected. You know, I feel like today's game was a damn if you do, damn if you don't. You know, if like we won this game, they're going to talk about how OKC didn't have Chet. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to discredit.
Or the fact that you guys were home, they didn't have Chet home, and some bullshit like that. Yeah, I'm good.
Exactly. And then if OKC won, everybody would be, you know, talking about how Shea is MVP even more, and talking about how they're contenders now for the championship. And for me, how you was talking about like how we're super deep, I think people forget we still got Imani Bates still cooking in the lab. We got people like Craig Porter Jr., who last year when Donovan Mitchell was injured, when Darius Garland was injured, when Evan Mobley was injured, he stepped up and balled out for us and won us a couple games. Like we still, our bench is by far the deepest bench in the NBA, and that's a fact.
Don't leave out Sam Merrill too.
And Sam Merrill, he didn't even play today. We didn't even need him. So it's just I mean,
the Cavs got a great team. They do. That's a damn good team, right? I think that's a damn good team that the Cavs got. I think the question that needs to be answered, and it will be answered at some point this year, is how far can Donovan Mitchell take this crew? Because they're going to look to him at some point. Like, we need you to be Donovan Mitchell. That's going to be the $1 million question. So, Dennis, good to talk to you, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. What up?
What's going on?
What
What's the deal? Hey, so to you know make to continue on to this Cavaliers thing that I was talking about, and I did say a while back, if they did beat the Celtics that night, they was gonna go on a 25-game winning streak, 30 or some shit like that. I was wilding out, but the Cavaliers, man, from top to bottom, they have very much improved and they're very much real. And what I'm seeing unfold before my very eyes is what I seen when Steve Kerr got to the Golden State Warriors. I'm seeing that for some reason, bro. Like
bridge coach. Is that what you're telling me? Like JB is Mark Jackson.
And in this situation, he might have been Mark Jackson. Yeah, I think it might be because I mean, listen, like the coach that they have now, man, we know all too well. We know what he was about to do, man, when he was in Brooklyn, and then somehow, some way, Katie and Kyrie got up in there, and that was he was up out of there. Kenny Atkinson was due for a head coaching job for a while, and I think he's showing why that was. And he's showing why that is, man. Finding different ways to win. As in tonight, man, Donovan Mitchell is not your guy. You know, they defensively, I think OKC, I think they very heavy reliant, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think they very heavy reliant on turnovers. It seemed like they one of them teams, like if they don't get a turnover, but like they pretty much screwed,
That's
because
not an
they don't have
unpopular
Chet.
opinion. That's not an unpopular opinion. That's a fact. I mean, their defense is their game plan is predicated on their defense.
But it's
That's a fact.
predicated on them. But it's predicated on them getting a lot of steals. They heavy turnover
Yeah.
efficient, like
Yeah.
because they don't have Chet on the back end. As far as
It works.
SGA,
I mean, if we being honest, it works. It's not like it's not
I mean,
working. It's working.
it works. It works. In most cases, for this season. But we have seen it get exposed. We have seen it get exposed in the cup game. And tonight, we definitely seen it get exposed, and that leads me to one of the biggest kryptonites for a team like OKC going forward, especially without Chet, is size. That's one of their biggest problems. If they can't do nothing with these bigs and the size that they're going up against, they pretty much in trouble. Because we seen Giannis play. I seen Giannis played arguably one of the most patient games that I've seen in that cup game. He should have went for 40. He should have had 40 and 19 in that game easy, but he played very patient. He waited for the defense, man. Worked in the high post in that high post range. The mid range was on money that night. He doing that shit where you talk about where he turned his brain off, whatever that shit was. And it was working that night. But to continue on with the Cavs, I think they are very for real. Are they real enough to dethrone to get them big badass leprechauns up out of here? Maybe. Well, we'll have to see. But I wanted to speak to you a little bit more on the before I get out of here. The Hall of Fame is coming up, and I know you was talking about D Rose last night with your good buddy, and obviously it ain't no talking him down about no jersey retirements. He got his mind made up. But what I think the finalists this year is Maya Moore, Sue Bird, Carmelo, Dwight Howard. For some odd reason, no, I'm not gonna say for some odd reason. It's a good reason. Marcus Gasol is in there. Tyson Chandler, I think. Sean Marion, Jamal Crawford. Who else? Amari Stoudemire. Who else? AK-47. Who else we got? Kyle Corver and JJ Redick for some odd reason. And I understand JJ Redick had a good college. Yes, JJ Redick is I guess because of a good college career. I guess if you want to say something, because at Duke he was pretty much like somewhat like the I guess they somewhat look at him.
History.
Yes, all time leader scoring. Okay, all right, yeah. So you already know more about it. So me personally, I mean Melo, I don't even got to think about it. Maya Moore, I don't got to think about it. Sue Bird, I don't got to think about it. Dwight Howard, I don't got to think about it. Marc Gasol.
A lot for Marc Gasol and Andre Karolinko will be international. Very much like Marciulionis, very much like Kukoc, guys like that. It'll be more of what they did in terms of their international.
Okay, all right. So like as I move down the rest of the list, Sean Marion. What you thinking on Sean Marion?
If he gets in, I don't think it's going to be now. I'd be surprised with Sean.
What you think of? What you think of?
If Sean Marion getting in, if Sean Marion getting in, Andre Iguodala getting in. He is definitely getting in. Sean Marion.
He said Sean Marion getting in. Iggy got to get in.
Iguodala got to get in the Hall of Fame. I dare you to keep Andre Iguodala out the Hall of Fame. I dare you.
He said, "I dare you." I don't. Well, that's a good name to bring up, man. But I mean, and that brings me to my thing about D Rose. D Rose. Now, you had said that D Rose won MVP and he was an NCAA finalist. He was in the NCAA championship game. If he does not make it, he will be the only player that has those on his resume to not make the Hall of Fame. How are we feeling about D Rose now that all of the dust is settled on his career? What's your final thoughts on, I guess, a career that should have been?
I mean, I have a difficult time with the what if, but I do understand it. I really wish he could have stayed healthy because I played 8 years with the Bulls. After he tore his knee up, I think that mentally it destroyed him because now his body started to break down because I think he got in his head. I think that's a real thing. I don't think that people recognize that when somebody gets hurt, like mentally,
Right.
how it affects you and how it can now become an even bigger problem. And I think that that's what happened with Derrick Rose. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit here like the injuries that he had, he couldn't recover from them. He played 10 more years after he tore his knee up. It's not like he only
Right.
played 2 or 3 more years. He played 10 more
Right.
years after he tore
Right.
up his knee. So
Right.
I mean, I do have to equate some of it to him being somewhat of, for lack of a better term, a mental midget. Yes. Yes, he was.
A mental. I mean, well, I would say, you know what, and I'm glad you brought that up because Grant Hill actually had an interview. He talked about how mentally, like after 2000, like it just wasn't the same. Like he talked about how when he was in Detroit, he knew what he was and he knew what he was doing. Like, but mentally after 2000, it was just like it was just one of those things. It was just like, damn, yo, if I make this move. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna feel after I make this move. I can't get baseline no more. I can't get over the defense anymore. And Penny Hardaway, he talked about it. Brandon Roy, he talked about it. These are guys that when we look at them at their absolute best, damn, they was good, wasn't they? they was like
I think the thing with Brandon Roy, he just couldn't do it anymore. Like I said, Derrick Rose played 10 more years. Brandon Roy, when that knee started to go, he just couldn't play anymore. Penny
just
Hardaway
couldn't play
said,
anymore.
I think in 98, he said he should have retired at that point. But he ended up playing a couple of more years. He said he should have been out at that point because he clearly couldn't do what he used to be able to do. He clearly couldn't do it. So, I mean, for Derrick Rose to play 10 more years after tearing up his knee, especially in a time like this where, modern medicine helps you out a lot more than what it was in the past. I mean, I think a lot of that was mental for him, and I think that broke him. So
I feel like it was, man, and then I'm gonna end it off by saying this. I feel like it was, but a part of that was I think a lot of the game started to change at that position as well. You look at what he was doing in his MVP season and everything, and then you look at the league of point guards all after the fact when he played those 10 plus years, and then you look at the minutes. And I look at the minutes played. Same with Grant Hill. Grant Hill, turned into like a pretty good role player. When he went to Phoenix and everything, when he ended his career. And I think D Rose, I don't think he ever dwellished in that role. It dwellished in the role of like the role player role, but I think he could have, but he never really dwellished in it because it was more of it wasn't. I think it was a half and half thing. Like that angel on your left shoulder and that devil on your right shoulder. You could make this up and under layup, and it was just like, nah.
Derrick Rose is a lead singer, man. You can't turn Derrick Rose into a backup singer.
But was he always a lead? But when your vocals, when you get in a car accident and your vocals go, are you still the lead?
Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. No.
Come on, you don't remember the DOC, bro? Right after that accident.
I think that's a little bit different. And the reason why that's a little bit different is because, I mean, if your vocals are gone and we can't fix it, then you over. But they were able to fix Derrick Rose. The question is, did Derrick Rose? Yes, he came. Like I said, he played 10 more years. So the question
he played 10 more years.
Can I do what I used to be able to do? We've seen guys come back from ACL injuries. Don't forget, Zach LaVine tore his knee up.
Right.
Don't forget that. We've seen guys come back from ACL injuries. We saw Blake Griffin, who had microfracture surgery. We saw Jason Kidd, who had microfracture surgery. This is surgery for guys. This is surgery for people in their 60s and 70s. And these guys came back and they were just as effective. So, I mean, we saw Amari Stoudemire, who also had microfracture surgery. I mean, these guys come back from these injuries. Derrick Rose, I think it was upstairs that I'm not sure that I could do what I used to be able to do. And I think that's where he was with it. So, Lee, it was good to talk to you, brother. No doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time for me. It was good to see you tonight. Y'all know what time it is when you see me. You know where to find me. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. If I'm not there, you can find me on the panel from 11. You can find me right here on Chilltown Hoops. On Tuesday nights, me and my man Tony Tone, Sports Fluent, we do our thing. If I'm not there, you can find me on Saturday afternoons, 12 p.m. Eastern, with my man Big Ox. So I'll see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talk to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was good stuff. I enjoyed that.